Hello guys, this is another CD update. Hang on. I've got, hang on. I might have accidentally spoiled it to you since you saw the cover of one of them. Let's see how many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Plus 3 more I got from FYE at the Maine Mall yesterday when driving to Maine, all on my own, while my parents were driving to Maine as well. I'm gonna do them by year. First, we got Autograph, Sign In Please. These guys. I really love the keyboards on this album. Turn It Up is Turn Up the Radio is their #1 hit on this album, but all I'm gonna take is how I was introduced to this album thanks to a hair metal brony, 1016, ultimately thanking Grand Theft Auto Vice City from the V-Rock radio. Turn Up the Radio was also featured on there too. Send Her To Me sounds Def Leppard inspired too. And I absolutely love the music video to Turn Up the Radio. Next, we got the famous Van Halen 1984, where that started the argument about, as old as heavy metal itself, do keyboards belong in hard music? Well, it would sound weird in death metal, well, not melodic death metal, but anywhere else, I wouldn't mind so. I mean, thrash metal, it would be kind of weird hearing keyboards in, but anywhere else, nah, I'm good with it. Jump's not my favorite song, but I know you all think this song's probably overrated, but Panama is my favorite on this album, hell, let alone, better yet, my favorite Van Halen song in general, along with Hot for Teacher. What else? There's too many Van Halen songs to count. I'm the One, their cover of You Really Got Me. Somebody Get Me a Doctor. That one's somewhat underrated. Next, we got LA Guns' debut album. One of the few glam metal bands that joined late in the scene in the 80s. This only has one page. Where are the lyrics to the songs? And I know a lot of people might overly criticize with a song that's titled Sex Action. Well, it's not like LA Guns is hypersexual like Blood on the Dance Floor. They don't say stuff like, they suck me till it snows and other garbage like that. I'm sorry, I'm getting too rated R here, so I'm gonna have to stop right there. Wasp and LA Guns, they knew their content was mainly towards adults. They didn't exploit children like what Dobby Vandy did, or does. Next, we got, you guys probably don't even know these guys, but Danger Danger, self-titled. Another one of the bands that joined extremely late until they fell off the radar around 1991, which in 1992, that was hair metal's peak. Main peak, at least. I first heard these guys off the iTunes radio. And I'm glad to see that they joined together for all the original members joined together for the 25th anniversary of this album back in 2014. And I still, unlike Don Dokken, who is still not over the shit with George Lynch, at least Sebastian Bach can get over whatever happened with Skid Row, along with David Lee Roth with Van Halen and Axl Rose and Slash getting over the shit that happened years ago with Guns N' Roses. And they're not just in it for the money, Don Dokken. Wake up. Maybe they're just playing music that everyone find just so fucking awesome. Ever thought of that? Next, we got Mr. Big. Once again, an album that gets judged by an acoustic ballad known as To Be With You on the following album in 1991. Addicted to That Rush, Wind Me Up, Had Enough, Take a Walk, Lay It On My Youth. Just this entire album. This entire album is great. Why judge them off an acoustic ballad? That's just not fair. As if an acoustic ballad is all that Mr. Big or Extreme ever did. Just give him another fair chance, please. If you really were all that much of a critic or into music, you would have explored deeper into their discography rather than just an acoustic ballad. Next, we got Slaughter, Stick It To Ya. This is not an 80s hair metal band, but a 90s hair metal band. Another one of those that broke out late until the last album I think that ever sold of theirs was The Wildlife, which I will get to shortly. And I love their ballad Fly to the Angels. Pretty much the entire album is good itself. Next, we got another late joined glam metal band, Firehouse. Let's see, All She Wrote, Don't Treat Me Bad, Thanks to You, Hair Metal Brody 1016, and I think Love of a Lifetime. Those three songs is what got me into Firehouse. Well, actually, for the first time I heard of Firehouse was through Ranner and Shades, talking about his favorite power ballads, and When I Look Into Your Eyes by this band that was on, that song was on their second album, not this album. Thanks to Ranner and Shades for introducing to me this album. Sorry if I tripped over my words there for a second. Next, we got finally a thrash metal in the stack. Thrash metal on the stack. Anthrax, Persistence of Time. 1990 had a lot of amazing thrash albums, including Persistence of Time. And strangely, I don't really care much for a band when they don't have their key member, and Anthrax is an absolute definition of that, since there was one time they didn't have Joey Belladonna. Joey Belladonna is on this album, but I think it was sometime around 1994 or the early 2000s that he left the band. But nonetheless, this is an amazing album, and I highly recommend you get it. Next, we got one of the last big selling, or at least somewhat big selling glam metal albums, The Wildlife by Slaughter, until the glam metal scene bit the dust in 1992. How was I introduced to this album? NASCAR The Game 2011 with the song Wildlife itself in the game. And then, well, I was reintroduced to this album through the song Days Gone By, thanks to Ranner and Shades, again with his favorite power ballads video. I didn't even know that song of Slaughter was on NASCAR The Game 2011 because I didn't even pay attention to the soundtrack. The only song I ever came back to remembering for a while was La Grunge by ZZ Top, and I already knew of that song before that NASCAR game came out. Next, this is pretty much a childhood favorite album of mine, since 3 of their songs were featured in Test Drive 5, known as Megalomaniac, Light on Lund, don't know how to read that, that's probably German, and Anarchy, which is my favorite song on this album. KMFDM. KMFDM. And yes, I do like industrial metal. And I think this is the first industrial metal CD I ever bought so far. I love the keyboards on this album. It's just so damn good, and that guitar solo on the third track is amazing too. How often do you hear a guitar solo like that in industrial metal? Sorry for the noises, guys. I'm in Maine, Old Orchard Beach, so that's why you might be hearing some unusual noises. Some people probably mowing their lawns. Next, we got Disturbed the Sickness. One of the famous nu metal albums, even though I never really considered Disturbed nu metal. Of course, their most well-known song is Down with the Sickness, but buy it for the rest of this, to listen to the rest of the songs on this album, because they're amazing too. I love the heaviness Disturbed always has in their material. So far, 10,000 Fists and Indestructible are my favorite albums from them. So this is my second Disturbed album. And next, we got As I Lay Dying, Shadows Are Security. You might have already knew that based on my Bad Drivers of Massachusetts #5 video, as you probably heard some songs from them on this album while I was driving. Whoops. The disc almost fell out. The first 4 tracks, well, first 5 tracks actually, are pretty much my favorites off this. Even though Tim is a complete and utter psycho for since he tried to kill his wife. I know all of you know that I really don't like a lot of metalcore, but when it comes to the melodic metalcore, like As I Lay Dying, that's what gets me going. It's like, it's hard to get of what As I Lay Dying sound could be really compared to. You just hear it and it just sounds like if Amon Amarth went to a more metalcore, well, melodic metalcore approach, since Amon Amarth is melodic death metal. Well, despite Tim being a complete and utter psycho, I still like As I Lay Dying's music. Next, let's move on to the stuff I got from FYE in the main mall. Rainbow, Long Live Rock and Roll, which is my second Rainbow album, classic 70s metal. It's Gates of Babylon, and I think the first track are or Lady of the Lake are my favorites off this track, but I'm gonna listen to the rest of this classic metal album. Sorry about that. This stupid cannot record it. Another video storage garbage caused a jump cut in this video, so sorry if there's some kind of interference. Next, I got Stained Glass by Judas Priest. That's another Judas Priest album to the collection I've got. Better by You, Better Than Me. Boy, that caused a lot of controversy. But I'm not going to get too deep into that. But nonetheless, this is another great album by Judas Priest. But then again, it's Judas Priest. What do you expect? Well, other than their albums from 1997 and 2008. I don't hate them. It just doesn't quite do it for me. They weren't too memorable. And last but not least, Ozzy Osbourne, Bark at the Moon. Of course, Bark at the Moon is my favorite on this album, but Waiting for Darkness, Rock and Roll Rebel, You're No Different. Hell, it's Ozzy. You can't go wrong with Ozzy. Well, aside from his drug problems and shit like that. Ironically, I was Waiting for Darkness is the first track I've heard going to Old Orchard Beach as soon as I started up the car. So yeah, that's all I've got for today, people. Peace out and keep it metal.